Hi, I would like to I would like to share with you the scripture is from the book of Philippians. It's chapter 4, verses 8 and 9. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Those things which you have both learned and received and heard and seen in me do, and the God of peace shall be with you. Now, those bits of scripture right there are a preface for something I would like to share with you this morning. It's not a sermon, it's just something I asked ChatGPT to explore, which is the Satanic Panic error. Um, so here goes. The Satanic Panic refers to a period, mainly the 1980s and into the early 1990s, when parts of the United States and some other Western countries experienced intense fear that hidden satanic networks were influencing culture, abusing children, infiltrating schools, and embedding occult messages in music and media. It was a mix of genuine concern, misinformation, media amplification, theological anxiety, and cultural upheaval. So let's unpack it carefully. First of all, let's look at the cultural background. Several forces converged in the late 1970s to 1980s. There's the rapid rise of heavy metal and hard rock. There's horror films and occult themed entertainment. There's growing daycare systems because of dual income households that are rising. There's expanding talk show culture. There's the Cold War climate of fear. And there's increasing evangelical political mobilization. Um, there was already an undercurrent of spiritual warfare theology, apocalyptic expectation, and concern about moral decline. The stage was set for panic. So let's look at point number two, the spark. Michelle remembers. In 1980, a book called Michelle Remembers by psychiatrist Lawrence Pazder um, claimed that recovered memories revealed ritual satanic abuse. The book described secret cults, ritual sacrifices, and hidden networks. Though later discredited, it became massively influential. It gave a narrative framework that evil isn't just moral decline, it's organized, hidden, and ritualistic. Point number three, daycare abuse hysteria. Um, the most infamous example was the McMartin preschool trial. Children were questioned in highly suggestive ways, leading to elaborate accusations of underground tunnels, ritual abuse, animal sacrifice, and years of investigation. Years of investigation produced no credible evidence of cult networks, but the panic spread nationally. Hundreds of similar accusations surfaced across the United States. Point number four is music and backmasking. At the same time, music became suspect. Bands accused of hidden satanic messaging included Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, and Judas Priest. The fear is that if you played certain songs backward, you could hear hidden satanic messages. This led to church seminars, youth group warnings, record burnings, and congressional hearings via the PMRC movement. The belief was not just moral concern, it was supernatural infiltration anxiety. Point number five is media amplification. Talk shows, news specials, and evangelical radio amplify these fears. Sensational claims were treated as plausible. The logic became circular. No evidence equals proof of how secretive the cult is. Denial equals evidence of infiltration, and lack of memory equals repressed trauma. Fear fed itself. Point number six is psychological factors. Several dynamics contributed. There's suggestive interviewing techniques, recovered memory therapy, confirmation bias, moral panic contagion, and anxiety about social change. When communities feel cultural instability, they look for clear villains. Satanic conspiracy offered a simple explanation. Point number 7 is theological amplifiers. Certain Christian teachings, when intensified, fed the panic. There is emphasis on spiritual warfare, little demonology applied to cultural products, end times urgency, and holiness through separation traditions. Spiritual evil is a biblical category, but panic emerged when spiritual warfare language plus media sensationalism plus cultural anxiety equals paranoia. Point number 8 is the aftermath. By the mid-1990s, investigations found no evidence of organized satanic cult networks. Courts overturned several convictions, and psychological research discredited recovered memory techniques used in those cases. The panic largely collapsed under scrutiny, but the effects lingered. Why it still shapes Christian views of music, even after the panic faded, the instinct to suspect cultural products remained. Secular music equals spiritually dangerous, stuck in some communities, and demon language became shorthand for I distrust this. That's part of the backdrop behind the question I posed ChatGPT earlier about what's called secular psalmody, the panic-hardened suspicion patterns. So, why did it happen? The Satanic Panic wasn't just superstition, it was fueled by fear of losing moral control, rapid cultural change, anxiety about children's safety, media sensationalism, and theological frameworks emphasizing hidden evil. It was a collision of real concern and an exaggerated narrative. So, the important distinction here's the important distinction. Recognizing that the panic was exaggerated does not mean that evil doesn't exist, spiritual warfare is imaginary, or that cultural critique is unnecessary. It means that panic is not discernment, and blanket demonization is not biblical wisdom. So here's how it connects to my interest in secular psalmody. When I talk, ChatGPT says when you talk about secular psalmody, you're operating in discernment mode. Panic, you're operated in suspicion mode. Those are very different spiritual postures. And basically, I agree that we're basically living in an age where the conservatives and the religious right are listening to conspiracy theories about demonic activity happening in like democratic circles and among liberals, and just yeah, we really need to be aware of spiritual activity, but we need to not cast suspicions on every little thing that's in the world. We need to have discernment to know what's glorifying God, what isn't. Because there is like secular art that is sinful, that emphasizes things that are against God, but there are also things that in secular art that does glorify God. And don't need to abandon every single thing that's out there in the world. I mean, I know some people would love to use what it says in for in like First John, First John, chapter 2, verses 15 to 17. It says, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passes away, and the lust thereof, but he that does the will of God abides forever." And 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 we need to be careful not to not to love the world as in the what the world values. I mean, but that doesn't mean we should demonize everything that is in the world. I mean, I mean, Paul the Apostle, when he was talking to the Athenians, and of quoting a pagan poet, when he was talking to the Athenians about God, and referring, talking to him about their idol that they have dedicated to an unknown God, and just and there and there there's in First Corinthians where Paul the Apostle does mention another pagan writer. It says, "Evil communications corrupts good manners," and just when talking about when he is talking about denial of the resurrection that some believers had, and just and he had to affirm that Jesus Christ is truly resurrected from the dead, and we will also be resurrected from the dead with Jesus at his coming. And just so, not everything in the world is bad, but we need to have discernment to know what's of God and what isn't, what glorifies him and what doesn't. Just saying. Anyway, that brings us to the end of today's video. So have a wonderful day, and may God bless you.